right, getting down into the nitty-gritty of the top 8. Now we are on to BlazinAzn. Once again, we have the privilege of casting 2 of his games this time around when we haven't casted him before. And 7xBane, who seems to be another newcomer here to the top cut of Duels of Runeterra. Blazin, as we know, running the Ezreal TF, mid-range Frostbite, and Shen Garen lineup that we've seen in this tournament so much. 7xBane, I gotta give him credit, alright? This is a very original lineup. The most unoriginal part about it is the deep deck. So we do see a deep sea monsters deck in this lineup, but then we see a Sejuani Swain, and my heart goes out because I am definitely a supporter and a proponent of the Sejuani Swain deck. Absolutely love that deck archetype in general. And finally, we have a Demacia deck. It's a Alright, this thing is running 3 Greenglade Elder. Yep, that's right. Greenglade Elder. Will the Greenglade Elder help him out or hurt him? We'll see here in the top 8. Wow, you got to see this Greenglade Elder. If you watch the top 8, top 4, and semifinals, let's just leave it at that. So let's get into the game. And we have Ash Sejuani, but we are getting into game 1 here. It's going to be, like I said, BlazinAzn versus 7xBane. Let's get it.
So we've got Swain Sejuani versus Shen Fiora. Or Shen Garen. Shen Garen. Very important distinction. There's no Fiora in this deck. Everyone else is running Fiora. BlazinAzn said no, Fiora is a poo-poo card. I like big meaty Garen instead.
And I just want to clarify that is not a mistake. I know you see Freljord Noxus up there and you're like, nah, guys. This is a mid-range Frostbite deck. Nope. We shit you not. This is a Sejuani Swain. One of my personal favorite ways to play Sejuani. I love the whole combo with Leviathan. You get one of those 2 champions on the board with Leviathan. Your opponent is on lockdown central, baby. So I'm curious to see if we're going to be able to set that combo up here with this Sejuani Swain iteration.
Swain Sejuani is probably one of the better decks at actually leveling the Sejuani, because so many of your removal spells, specifically Death's Hand, can also go into face, as well as Noxian Fervor, which is a card that we actually haven't seen for quite some time. The Swain decks aren't really running that as much anymore, because it does, for the most part, require the sacrifice of one of your own units. We just really haven't seen that trade-off be worth it in quite some time. Here we're going to see River Shaper come down, but there are 2 Avalanche in the deck for 7xBane to counter out something like that. But the reason I brought up the Sejuani, BlazinAzn playing a board-centric deck with damage-based removal, especially combat damage-based removal, like Concerted Strike and Single Combat, this deck gets blown out of the water by both Swain and Sejuani. Is BlazinAzn going to be able to kill 7xBane before he can get either one of those strategies to stick?
Yeah, and I got to agree with you. I mean, there's just so many options for the Swain Sejuani deck to take care of this. I mean, we already see not turn 1, but the first attack turn on the side of BlazinAzn, we're seeing this Death's Hand come out. Death's Hand, such a good removal card for units like this. You know, we have another River Shaper down. That River Shaper with 2 health, not going to last too long versus this deck. And like you said, also playing the 3 Noxian Fervor. So very curious to see if 7x is able to maintain tempo here early on and deal with a lot of BlazinAzn's early units.
My concern with the Noxian Fervor is that the only units in 7xBane's deck that actually survive the 3 damage are Leviathan, Swain, and Sejuani. Everything else dies to it.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. And we're going to see a Swiftwing Lancer drawn by BlazinAzn here on turn 5. Not a bad draw. You know, we obviously have the Genevieve to curve out on turn 6 as well, but he is going to go ahead and go with the Brightsteel Protector, who is, in fact, a female Brightsteel companion, okay? Not a male like Brightsteel Formation is, FYI, for everybody wondering.
Brightsteel Formation is 20 guys in a trench coat making a giant woman.
We figured that out earlier today by looking at the cards, but yeah, we're going to see this River Shaper now stunned. It feels pretty bad on the side of BlazinAzn not being able to get that effect off and draw an additional spell now.
It looks like BlazinAzn is considering either attacking with this Brightsteel Protector or maybe even the ramifications of a Concerted Strike to get this River Shaper draw off. And it looks like it will be the Concerted Strike. Really wants to draw this additional spell, as well as clear the way for the Brightsteel Protector to take out the other blocker.
I don't know if I like this. Do you like this?
I know how I feel about it, and it's not great. Sejuani, Swain, and Leviathan are such high health units that Concerted Strike is really your only tool to deal with them.
Yeah.
And we are already into the Sejuani turn. I know not much has happened this game, but, you know, surprise, it's turn 6. Sejuani's coming down next turn. Probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I like, is that play made out of tilt just because you had your River Shaper stunned? And
That's not what I expected out of 7xBane as the response.
Okay, I am going to go on a limb here and say that entire interaction was just no, you're not going to do what you want to do on the side of both players.
Yeah, I mean, both players are even in card advantage now. They have 1 unit and 5 cards in hand, no spell mana. Everything is completely even here. Unless 7xBane has Sejuani, though, BlazinAzn's got a pretty good curve for the turn with this Swiftwing Lancer. It is going to be the Sejuani, though. And if you play the Swiftwing Lancer, you don't have any spell mana available to you. You can't play the Riposte.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty likely that you actually just challenge this. I mean, so I want to... Yeah, you challenge the Brightsteel with the Spider and then attack with the Sejuani, right? Because no matter what, you're pushing through damage.
Yep. Yeah, even if the Swiftwing blocks. Yeah, and I think you have to... All right, I was going to say you have to block with the Swiftwing because of what you were saying earlier with only having so many ways to deal with Sejuani and Swain. We do see another Concerted Strike in BlazinAzn's hand, so he does have that option still available to him, but a little surprised that he didn't take that block there.
Well, it gets buffed with the Genevieve this turn, so he can just kill it on his own. Although, if another Arachnoid Sentry comes down here from 7xBane, that could be disastrous for BlazinAzn, who still does not have this Riposte mana, will not be able to run the Genevieve into the Sejuani. Although Genevieve would get to eat both spiders, so a little bit of a consolation bonus prize.
Ooh, okay, now all of a sudden this feels really good on the side of BlazinAzn, so I'm trying to think of what 7x could have here to kind of thwart this attack, and I don't think they're really... Fury of the North, he's only running 1 Fury of the North, though.
He's got Sejuanis. Those are Fury of the Norths.
Okay, technically he's got more, and wow, this attack just works, and... That's a huge swing for BlazinAzn. Like, I really don't think this is good for 7x now.
I'm not actually sure if I would have played a Sejuani's Fury of the North there, or if I would just prefer to play another Sejuani later on.
Yeah, and we see the Babbling Beer come out, and I think... So I might actually agree with you there, especially because... I guess I'm kind of forgetting. I mean, his version, he is playing 3 Babbling Beer. And he is going to be able to draw enough cards to kind of keep up in any lost advantage that he might end up stumbling upon, which is exactly what happened here. We do have an Average Sentry that would be able to draw as well, and I think that if 7x is just able to make it to a Leviathan turn, the whole entire game is just going to swing back to 7xBane's favor.
7xBane could even just take control of the game here if a Leviathan comes down. BlazinAzn has some tools to deal with that over the course of the next couple of turns. But, and 7xBane doesn't really have a whole lot of protection for a Leviathan, right? It's really just throw it down, pray that you don't have the tools to answer it. It would cost a lot of resources out of BlazinAzn's side, but the Garen would likely level in the process.
Yeah, I kind of, all right, I'm going to attempt, I put it on 360 earlier because of another stream that we were watching, so we'll see. Oh, wow, auto did that, huh? It's only going up to 720, so there we go. A little bit better for you guys. Your eyes feeling a little bit better now?
Give me that HD.
HD, guys.
All right, so 7xBane has the advantage here. All he has to do is just continuously pass back. BlazinAzn has to deal with that, otherwise this Leviathan kills him in 2 turns. And the Swain is leveled. We've seen 2 Ravenous Flocks connect, as well as the Death's Hand and now a Leviathan ability, so this is a leveled Swain. And even if you do deal with this Leviathan, which I think you're going to have to riposte Concerted Strike.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there. I don't see why there's any reason you don't play the Concerted Strike to get rid of this Leviathan. You can't afford 3 more damage. And you sure... I mean, obviously you can't afford 6. You just lose the game, right? So, we got 9 mana.
I mean, as we had mentioned earlier, this hasn't come up... Oh, that's disastrous for BlazinAzn. All right, go next.
Right, go next.
I was going to say, as we had mentioned earlier, 7xBane running the Noxian Fervors that have really fallen to the wayside does give him a lot more reach than we typically see out of decks like this.
That's really bad. So wait, so he doesn't... There's no way he kills this... Okay,
If
wait.
he does, he has to bounce into it and then hit it with a concerted strike. So if
Wow.
7xBane has anything to pop this barrier, then BlazinAzn can't actually kill this. But BlazinAzn does have deny, but that would, sort of turn off the concerted strike for the turn. So far things working out for him.
Oh, here comes the Swain. So he knows at least he can kill the Leviathan now, but
I mean, Swain could present lethal on his own next turn with a Noxian Fervor if you can get the stun onto that Garen.
Wow. Yeah. Feels really bad to have to do this. And whereas he could have gotten an additional strike off with the Garen, now he's just in a situation where he has to expend his cards in a way that he doesn't want to. And now 7xBane going into a 12 mana turn also has a little bit of a mana advantage here. Curious to see. I mean, he could just take the open attack and possibly be attacking for game at this point.
One-off lethal on the open attack.
And unfortunately, too, if he does do the open attack, right, you have the Swain. It could get blocked with the Garen. It doesn't kill the... Oh.
Ooh, that's game.
That's game. Ooh, that's a card.
Pack it up, everybody. We're going home.
Bye-bye. I think that's going to be game one. Doesn't matter if you have a big old bad Bright Steel formation, because I got a bigger and badder Leviathan and Swain.
You just pass, and it's like, hey, bud, your board's stunned. Do you kill me this turn? No? Okay, Leviathan's going to kill you next turn.
Oh, hey, look, you thought you could attack.
That's nothing. None of this saves you from the Leviathan, and that's going to be BlazinAzn falling in game number 1 to 7xBane. That's Swain Sejuani getting a pretty quick win.
Gonna go ahead and give not BlazinAzn, 7xBane the victory fanfare music, and game 1 going to him. Gonna go up here and see if he can take it home. 2 more games, 3-0.
So I've made a note. It just says Swain Sejuani best Noxus Freljord deck. Agreed?
Oh, wait, who said that?
My sticky notepad.
You wrote that on your sticky notepad?
100% win rate, baby.
Did you? I mean, I guess since it's technically 100%.
The facts don't lie. We have a new king.
Oh my god. I mean, I am a little bit biased towards the deck. I do like it. I like it better than mid-range Frostbite because it's just more of a fun deck in my eyes. But see, when I played it, though, I played the aggressive version with, like, the Ruthless Raiders and shit.
Oh, yeah, but we're not here for fun. We're here for blood and glory.
Oh,
or at least
man.
I am. I don't know why you're here, but I'm here for blood and glory. I don't know if you're here.
I don't know why I'm here either. Wait, am I in the right spot? I was here to put on this unicorn hat that I still have not worn, which is probably a good thing, because that means we still haven't seen a mid-range Frostbite mirror match.
So, something that I did not think would be happening today is that we would see a Demacia Ionia mirror match that is 2 different decks, and neither one is Zed Lucian Bannerman.
Wow. Yeah, that is a very good point. That's a bit of a surprise here as well. And if you guys are wondering what the hell he's talking about, that is because 7xBane is playing just Garen. He said, nah, I don't need no other champions but Garen. You can keep your stinking champions. I'm going to play Garen alongside 3 Greenglade Elder, as well as 2 Windfire Hatchlings, and basically everything else just straight up Bannerman. So, very interesting way to play this deck. We'll see if he's able to overtake this other version that we've been seeing a ton of today in Shen Garen.
Greenglade Elder's just a bad Bannerman. And I can forgive it because you already also run 3 Bannerman and 3 Genevieve and 2 Cythria. Like, this is just a buff up. It's like a bunch of Bannerman units and then every buff's, like, wide buff possible between Elder, Hatchling, Genevieve, Cythria, Bannerman. And that doesn't sound very good to me, if I'm being honest.
So, okay, so is this just... Is Greenglade Elder in this way of building the deck, is this just, like, the better way to beat mirror matches? Because, like, your units are just going to be bigger?
Because there are so many 3/2s and, like, 2/1s, I don't necessarily know, because you need 2 buffs to get over them.
Huh.
And the barriers still play out really well for BlazinAzn. You don't necessarily have anything to get through those. We're not seeing any single combats out of 7xBane. It is just 3 Rangers Resolve, couple Relentless Pursuits, Deny, Will of Ionia, and critically, that Purify that I would have to imagine is coming back out for all of the Endure Spiders that we've been seeing lately.
Oh yeah, yep, 100%. Yeah, playing Too Relentless Pursuit. Also, just a very interesting. Like you said, I kind of think he went in the spell area and was just like, I'm just gonna click randomly and see what falls in my deck.
This is disastrous for 7xBane. So you look at his hand and you say, okay, everything was buffed up by this Green Glade Elder, but BlazinAzn has all 3 Concerted Strike, and all of them will go along with a River Shaper to continue and get card advantage for him.
Yeah, one of the reasons I think why we're seeing River Shaper actually be a thing again is because of Concerted Strike. Like, Concerted Strike is just such a good card. It's one of the few cards besides something like a Vengeance that can take care of larger units. And you pair it with something that has a strike effect like this River Shaper. I mean, look how many spells he's getting now. This is already looking like it's game for BlazinAzn.
Yeah, gets the riposte off the Concerted Strike, gets immediate value off of it by blocking with the River Shaper. Thought about blocking with the Garen to play around another Ranger's Resolve, but decided that getting the extra spell would just be better anyway. And gets rewarded for it. There wasn't even another Ranger's Resolve coming out of 7xBane. This Green Glade Caretaker, the buffs that it has put out have not been relevant, and it itself is now just sitting as a 2/2. That's nothing.
Wow. Yeah. So the Green Glade Elder got buffed by the Green Glade Elder. Feels bad.
It was buffed up by Bannerman, but
oh, it was actually buffed up by Bannerman. Never mind.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I don't know how I'm feeling about this whole Green Glade Elder thing. I will say Cytherea being a 7/7 is definitely a thing. However, sitting on 5 mana, it's gonna feel really bad to block this Garen with the Cytherea, but I think you're kind of forced into doing so.
Yeah, and you're just gonna get blown out by the riposte that BlazinAzn has, and even if he didn't, he could go for that Concerted Strike. And there's no punish for this. You know, single combat isn't really going to do anything here. You could use it with your Green Glade Elder to pop the barrier on Garen. Oh, wait, that's right. There are no single combats in this deck out of 7xBane, which is wild to me because you've gone for the I have the stat advantage game plan and then didn't take advantage of that with single combat.
Wow. And I love... So BlazinAzn just very quietly is just like jamming out over here, just loving the way that this game is going, it feels like. And I got to agree with him because, like you mentioned, this riposte is going to blow out this Cytherea, and I'm hard pressed to figure out like what 7x could actually draw that's going to get him out of this situation. And I think it's actually nothing because BlazinAzn's draws are just going to be basically equal. And yeah, he goes ahead and does the early surrender. Gonna go ahead and give Game 2 over to BlazinAzn. Him getting the victory fanfare music this time, but man, that was a really quick game 2. I think it was the quickest game we've seen all day.
I mean, with no aggro in the format, that sounds about right to me, and that is going to tie the series up 1-1.
And going into Game 3 here, yeah, wow, it still blows my mind how little aggro there is now. Like in just any card game, it's always weird to not see like a face deck. Like me go face, me win game. Like, and we don't have that right now.
We have elusives, right? That's a deck like that. I mean, we have discard aggro,
but it's subpar. They're all subpar. Like there's obviously archetypes, but they're all subpar archetypes.
Yeah. I mean, like I have a tournament tier list that I keep updated. I've got discard aggro down in like tier 3 because why would you ever run that instead of an Ezreal deck?
Yeah. wait, you can run things besides Ezreal?
No, and that's why it's in tier 3. I don't know, man. We saw a couple, like Nola Gold barely missed out on top 16 with Casino. Zinc got top 16 with Casino. Sometimes people just don't want to play Ezreal.
I guess.
I mean, let's be real. We're not playing for a whole lot of money here. You can be here for a good time.
And just to give everybody a quick update, too, it looks like Random 7HS is up 1-0 on Stan, and Rice FT is down 1-0 on versus Garrett's right now.
Ooh.
Looks like we start with the Averosian Sentry here, just, getting off to a nice slow start with this mid-range Frostbite deck.
So far, 7xBane has found that turn 3 Caretaker both games. Didn't work out for him last time. I don't think this is really a matchup where it works out phenomenally either. You need a couple of stat advantages before you're really competing with the Frostbite deck.
Yeah, and so I was going to say this last game too. So I think the Green Glade Elder, maybe it gives it the advantage in the Bannerman mirror match. Didn't look like that was the case in the last game. Maybe it actually has a disadvantage in that case. So I wonder if it's going to have the advantage here at all.
I feel like he just got blown out by the River Shaper last game. Because River Shaper connected, 3 or 4 times with all the Concerted Strikes that BlazinAzn had in hand?
Oh my God, River Shaper with Concerted Strike just feels...
It got a couple of attacks off. It got one Concerted Strike off. There were like still 2 Concerted Strike on backup. This Yeti is going to decimate anything that comes out of 7xBane. I don't care that you've been buffed up by a Greenglade Caretaker. Unless it's a Garen, I fear no man.
Unless it's a Garen. And wow, we see the Bright Steel Protector come down too. It's not even buffed by the Greenglade. I feel like every time we see a turn 3 Greenglade, the next turn we're not seeing the buffed unit, and I think that's part of the reason for playing Greenglade. Like, you want to get that tempo as early as possible. We're just not seeing it.
I'm a little surprised to see BlazinAzn actually let that one go rather than throw out the Brittle Steel for it.
I think he's just not worried about using resources right now. You have Avarosian on 5. You have Yeti on 6. Like, look at his field. I don't know how 7X beats this deck right now.
My only real concern is that I think that you do have a window for Brittle Steel getting value in a matchup like this, just because of the banner. Like, there are so many buffs coming out of 7xBane that, as irrelevant as they might be into your stat line, they do take Brittle Steel off the table pretty quickly.
Yeah, we do see the Ice Veil come out, so we are going to see some freeze effects. Ice Veil going on the Genevieve.
I think we're seeing Reckoning here.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
This is a big Reckoning.
That is...
7xBane runs Deny, but doesn't have the mana for it. Patch 1. Who? Not this one, baby. That's a 4 mana spell.
That's just GG. I don't see... Well, alright. You know, alright, I don't know if this is just me, but there are times where I'm like, oh, that's right, my units die too. And I sometimes when I'm casting, I'm like, oh, that's right, wait, it's not as big of a blowout as I thought because BlazinAzn loses some of his units too.
I was wondering why you were calling game. That's not even a buff game. We've seen one buff unit come out of 7xBane's hand.
No, I don't think. Wait, did we see it last game?
Yeah, we saw. I think the Genevieve was buffed both times.
Oh, okay. Well,
His Bannerman was buffed last game as well. But you know what card that is like Greenglade Elder that we've actually seen once in competitive play? Mobilize.
Mobilize I actually like with like Lucian aggro decks and stuff. Like I think getting a lot of early units down with Mobilize can sometimes just be, oh my god, so good.
I mean, I saw it do better than I'm seeing this Greenglade Caretaker work. I'm like, I mean, we've only seen a couple of games, but this Greenglade Elder looks like an old man who does nothing. He tells you some wisdom, whispers in your ears, tells the pretty girl down the street to come give you a pound of sugar to borrow, and then she just dies to a reckoning. The analogy really got lost along the way. But
you stretched there a little bit.
A little bit, but I found it. I brought it back. Chat, ignore, chat. You got my back, right?
Chat likes it. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
They won't tell me they don't know what they like.
Dude, does anybody like? So 7X with the lonely Garen. Yeah, I got to agree with you though. As far as the analogy is concerned, this Elder doesn't quite seem to have the wisdom you'd expect from an Elder. And we finally do see. Okay, we see the Grizzled Ranger buffed up, but I don't really know that makes too much of a difference other than you force a block out of the 5/5s with it. Like, I just look at this board on the side of BlazinAzn.
There's no removal out of 7xBane. There's no single combat, no concerted strike. It's just 2 Will of Ionia.
Oh my god. Yeah, I think this is just a blowout. Like, because the problem is, I'm looking at the board on the side of BlazinAzn, and I'm thinking, okay, what does 7X have that could, like, get him back in this? All he has is cards, just units that get played that help with tempo, that buff up his field, but it doesn't actually matter if he buffs anything up. Like, there's Frostbite, there's, like, a ton of units on the side of BlazinAzn's field. Like, it's just not, nothing's gonna work.
This Ash is at 0, right? We haven't seen any Frostbite come down so far.
No, I think that's 2 or 3. It definitely won't level.
If that's 3, he can level the Ash here. But okay,
wow.
Yeah, that's just going to be the surrender out of 7xBane. BlazinAzn going up 2-0 so far.
That's 2 quick surrenders, though. That's like that's probably the 2 quickest surrenders I've seen in tournament gameplay.
I mean, when the game's over, the game's over. You can kind of recognize it at that point. Like, knowing your hand, you're like, okay, there's actually nothing that just gets me out of this situation. I can't top deck anything. Let me save a little bit of real life time. And I appreciate that, 7xBane. I have a life and things to do.
Oh, man. So, BlazinAzn, after being down 1-0, going into Game 4 here, trying to come back and take it 3-1 from 7xBane, and we're going to get the third time of this Green Glade Elder deck. Can it do anything? Can we just see a turn 3 Green Glade followed by a turn 4 like Bannerman or Grizzled Ranger? Like, can we just see the dream with this deck one time?
That's the problem, right? Like, I feel like these have been ideal hands for him. You get your Green Glade on 3, and then you don't do anything for 3 turns until you play a buffed up Genevieve.
Yeah, and you know what the problem? Like, he's only playing 3 Fleet Feathers. Which, I mean, obviously, yeah, that's what you play, but do you play 3 Cythria too? Like, I feel like not getting the 1-drop early is always a hurtful thing for any sort of Demacia or Bannerman deck.
I would say that because you built your deck for Green Glade Elder, you don't really want to play 1 and 2 drops. You kind of just want to pass the first couple turns and then drop the Elder. Not having any Concerted Strike to take advantage of that spell mana that you bank early on is not ideal. I really think it's like the spell lineup that's playing against him here. You know, not having any single combats or Concerted Strikes, we're seeing him get consistently overwhelmed by wide boards.
Yeah, and this time not even having the turn 3 Green Glade, instead just a lone Laurent Protege, and we'll see if... I don't know. I mean, we'll see if he can just out-tempo Blazin here and do what the deck is supposed to do, kind of overrun Blazin early. I mean, Blazin already had that Mystic Shot with the Keg pretty early, which is like, feels good. Feels good to get an early Mystic Shot with a Keg for 3 damage onto something like a War Chef's. Not only that, we have another free Mystic Shot. Cost, well, not free, but kind of free. It's like half free on one of these Proteges here, and just a lot of removal already coming out on the side of Blazin.
Freely Given was the Mystic Shot. It
Freely,
cost a little bit of mana.
Freely Given, there we go.
But we do get that sort of ideal Bannerman now out of 7xBane in order to actually have some challengers for the Ezreal, who does not seem long for this world. This barrel coming out of the Dreadway deckhand, not going to be enough to clear the board, and doesn't have the mana to get down Dreadway and Petty Officer into a Make It Rain. Doesn't have the time for that either, if we're being honest.
Yeah, and this is actually going to be good. I mean, 7x could go into a Relentless Pursuit turn here, depending on what Blazin decides to play next. I mean, obviously, one of these Laurents is prone to something like a Make It Rain coming out, and especially with this Dreadway, now a Make It Rain would definitely hurt a little bit if he decides to go with the Relentless Pursuit.
Not going to be the case, and I'm curious if BlazinAzn is actually going to throw out the loses the Riptide, but if he really wants to, could do double Petty Officer into 2 more barrels into the Make It Rain. But it's just going to fire off the 1, wants to clear out the board before it gets a little bit too wide, unless...
I love when that happens. I feel like we're like, they're going to do this play, but wait, there's more. All right.
Oh, wow. It does hit all 3 units. So Ranger's Resolve going to protect the Bannerman, the 1 Protege still going to die.
Yep. No.
Overall, I mean...
Oh, yeah, to the barrel. Okay, yep.
Yeah. Not a bad trade for BlazinAzn, mostly because he is running an Ezreal deck that is still 3 targets going down onto that card.
Yep.
Sucks you lose the Riptide, though. That's the one unplayable card in your deck this turn.
It's the one thing about fleeting draws, right? Like, it seems so good because, well, drawing cards, isn't that just good in card games, right? Well, not if you have to use in that turn. Sometimes you don't want to use the card to draw that turn. And, yeah, it always feels bad to draw a large card like that, but... with every TF iteration, or TF Ezreal iteration, I should say, they pretty much all play 3 Riptide Rex. So does it really matter that he drew one of them? I think he's fine. He just has to draw into another.
Yeah, he's okay. The scary part is his hand is pretty low on gasoline. Never mind, there's the Riptide.
Speak of the devil!
And he's actually got a really good turn next turn. You just, he might be dead here.
Yeah, wow.
No, he's fine. I forgot that some of these can actually block the Cythria. Mm-hmm. So he's actually a lot more fine than I thought he was. I forgot that, Cythria herself does not have Fearsome.
Now, yeah, and he does actually have 2 other Fearsome blockers, so he's still going to be able to block everything but the Elusive. This is going to be a lot of damage that comes through, but 7x, just 1 mana off of the Relentless Pursuit. The Relentless Pursuit would have been game. Now he's going to have to deal with a hell of a Riptide Rex next turn, which he's probably wishing he kept that Ranger's Resolve. I really hope he has another Ranger's Resolve in hand for this turn 8 Riptide.
That is the one spell he's playing 3 of. Yeah. He really valued Ranger's Resolve for the Riptide decks especially, which makes sense. There's a lot of those coming out. But next turn is going to be great for Blazin, who does get to bank 3 spell mana. It's just going to go not Petty Officer. That came off the top. Get out of my brain, Petty Officer. It's Riptide into Pilfered Goods.
And it looks like, wow,
board clear.
a perfect. Look at BlazinAzn. I love the hands praying. He knows the guy. Oh!
He didn't even pop off on that Riptide. He was just like,
wow.
he just looked up. He was like, thanks, God. You got my back on this one.
And then God says, no. You shall not pass. That
we have a God.
So
it's the guy who's on the horse in Rangers, or the guy on the moose in Rangers Resolve.
Wait, is that?
Why is this?
Is that a girl or a guy? Is that a girl or a guy again? Boulevard. Damn it, Boulevard.
Well, the problem is, unlike Mobilytics, Decks of Runeterra doesn't let you zoom in on the cards, and that is how his deck was submitted.
Hold on, we're gonna. I just Google it. Like, you can always rely on Google.
Okay. I have Mobilytics card list.
Like, that's a girl, man. All right, listen, Boulevard. Me and you gotta have a chat.
All right.
we gotta figure out the genders of these cards. All right.
That's when Targon comes out, you're gonna get texted me from 3 a.m. like, hey, shit, is this spoiler a girl or a guy?
Oh man, before I put this YouTube video up, I just gotta clarify real quick.
Recognize this character either. It is just God riding a moose.
Oh man, so although I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go like I'm a 90% positive that's a girl because it could just be a guy with long hair, but it
could be Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter.
I miss that guy.
Well, I mean, he hunted this crocodile pretty well, and that's actually going to be 7xBane picking up the win with this Demacia deck. Rangers Resolve completely countering the Rex there, and we're going to move on to Deep versus Ezreal. I don't love this matchup for the Ezreal deck. Historically, Riptide Rex is very bad into sea monsters, and that is one of the big finishers for this Ezreal deck.
Yeah, and can I just... wow, I gotta say, BlazinAzn just looks like he is absolutely, after that game, just like defeated with some of his reaction. You know, hopefully he's fine. He can go into game 5 here with a strong mental fortitude, as though he is a cement wall, as we talked about earlier, and be able to take game 5 here from 7x, or will 7x be able to take it with this deep deck that we just continue to see popular among so many lineups?
Yeah, like I said, I feel like Deep is favored here. The lack of Mist Call could play against that a little bit. One of the big blowout plays that Sea Monsters typically has available to them is like Maokai on 4, you Thermo Beam it, I Mist Call it, now I have a Maokai, let's go to my turn, oh look, I played a unit, you don't have another Thermo Beam for this Maokai, I get to toss and accelerate my game plan. Everything just kind of falls into place from there. But without Fading Memories or Mist Call, that's not really an option, although the Withering Whales and Grasp of the Undyings can get a little bit of value in this matchup. Not so much the Withering Whale, but the Grasp, yeah, that's a good killer for the Ezreal.
Yeah, Grasp, pretty much made to kill Ezreal. We'll see if it does come into play here a little bit later, but we do see BlazinAzn again playing this more draw-heavy version of the TF Ezreal, opting for the Zaunite Urchin here, going to go ahead and use one of those fleeting draws early on to turn it into basically a regular draw. And starting off with a lot of small units here, so it looks like he's going to try to go ahead and take the aggressive route, knowing that if 7x goes deep here a little too early, he is not going to be having fun here.
And so far, BlazinAzn's doing the right thing. He's playing wide on the board. That's something that Sea Monsters doesn't deal with particularly well. Even throws down the Naked Butcher just to get more presence on board. Deadbloom Wanderer, gonna be an okay play. I think this means you just hold back the Pool Shark, but it looks like he's fine attacking with it anyway because he does have the Make It Rain to kill it on the next turn if it does soften up to one attack. And that's a 10 damage swing potentially coming out of BlazinAzn here. What are your blocks, 7xBane?
Oh boy. Well, gonna get, looks like, okay, I was gonna say if he blocks with the Deadbloom like that, he's not gonna get the full heal on it. So it looks like he is gonna block all the way at the end here on this. Wow, why do Dragon Butcher. I don't know why that card is played in so many decks. The name always escapes me. Oh my god, it's so annoying. I just want to say the Pirate. Like, I just call it the Pirate. That's what it is, the Pirate.
That's what I call Cutthroat, because I can't remember that name's
either. And that, well, at least you have an excuse, because that card isn't played as much. So we see another Deadbloom come out. Honestly, you know, if 7x is going to stave off some of this early aggression from BlazinAzn, I think this is how he does it. He plays 2 Deadbloom here. 2 Deadbloom also very critically getting him deep super, super fast. We're going to see a Mystic Shot come out. I think that's a good call. I do think he needs to avoid 7xBane healing up at all here. But, man, it's going to be hard for BlazinAzn to really be like aggressive enough to take this home early.
He is presenting another massive swing, but this is where we could. I think a Withering Wail here pretty much just ends the game.
Oh yeah, you're dead to Withering Wail. Like that. Yeah. Yep. And he's playing 2, which 7x, one of the only people to play 2 Withering Wail in these deep decks. We were talking about it from the last tournament. There wasn't a whole lot of Withering Wail, but is there? Oh, there it is, Withering Wail, and
What's
BlazinAzn.
Backup.
He knows it. Oh, just to really make sure everything dies, we have the Withering and the Vile Feast, and yeah, you know, I think that was an okay risk on the side of BlazinAzn because the game isn't necessarily over per se.
You
but
still have spaces to get into it, but
Yeah.
having this weak of an economy going into the late game versus a deep deck is not going to play out in your favor 9 times out of 10.
No, now you have to basically focus on trying to get this Ezreal combo off ASAP, and I don't think it's gonna happen. Having Riptide on turn 8 will definitely help.
I got some bad news for you. Ezreal's at 1 out of 8.
Well, he's gonna Riptide. He's gonna Riptide.
Yeah, that is the 7 that you need.
We
Riptide's probably not going to kill anything is my sort of problem.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we actually need units for Riptide to kill in order for Riptide to do anything.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
that's
we
a
need
problem.
units for it to target, but if Nautilus comes down and just eats every single shot, that just kind of is what it is, and that's typically why we don't see nab-based decks picking up wins against sea monsters too often. The board is just too wide and too big. It's really easy to go deep before the Riptide gets to come out.
Yeah, we do see one of those graphs come out. Man, I gotta say, you know, the way that 7x has built this deck, it's just so hard to get damage to stick, man. This is just not fun for BlazinAzn. He's gonna go into another attack turn with basically no damage on board. He also cannot play Riptide next turn because it will only be turn 7. So this is just not looking good so far for BlazinAzn.
I didn't love discarding the Make It Rain because that was our Riptide activator. You will have the attack token on 8, or you will have it on 9. So yeah, you won't even have it on 8 to get that on-curve Riptide. I know Thermo Beam is a big card in this matchup, but I don't think that early low units going wide is how you win this game anymore.
Oh no, because you've already like lost on that front. Especially like 7x just draw to another Withering Wail, and okay.
Oh look,
Wow.
now you don't have a Riptide Rex.
Wait, well we could have a Culling Strike. Oh wait, never mind. I don't think.
You can't Thermo Beam the Nautilus because you need Make It Rain Riptide next turn to take it.
Yeah.
Hopefully try and take out whatever sea monsters come down alongside of this.
I mean, you do have. This just feels really bad. Does this level the Nautilus?
If
right
it
here?
does, then you
Yeah.
just take 13 damage. You don't have a blocker for this.
Wow. Yeah, and now that might just be completely game now. I don't know if BlazinAzn can actually stay in this one. Yeah. That's going to be a solid 13 damage that absolutely nothing can be done about. He's like, what am I doing?
I might as well level the Ezreal, right? And that's all this Riptide does is level the Ezreal, especially because BlazinAzn's probably going to throw it out before anything else comes down, just because 7xBane can just pass.
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%.
He doesn't actually need to develop sea monsters. If you two just pass back and forth, eventually he just hits you with Nautilus again. Oh, and there's Atrocity. That's just lethal.
Wow. Yeah, and we got to remember, too, he's playing to Atrocity, and wow, 7xBane gonna get this victory fanfare music. He is taking it home. 3-2 versus BlazinAzn. Gonna go ahead and advance. All right, and congrats to 7xBane bringing the pretty unique lineup, being able to take down BlazinAzn and make it into the top 4. So super excited to see these unique decks, or I shouldn't say unique, just less played, underplayed deck archetypes. Very excited to see them in the top 4 and hopefully the finals. So until next time, everybody, stay healthy, stay positive. I hope it just works for you, and peace out.